Good morning. Welcome to our chat with the Canadian guys. I'll be your host this morning. I'm Dave from Harleys, Diners and Rides. And with us, we have, very excited to have, in the middle, Daniel Ross from the Cabot Trail Biker. And you'll recognize this familiar face. It's Rob from Dead Nought. He's joined us a few times. And we're going to be talking about something fantastic. It's the Cabot Trail, a journey of a lifetime, right? We have two people that are really knowledgeable on this topic, right? So we're going to start off with a quick introduction around. And Daniel, in the middle, can we start off with you, please?
Yeah, hi guys. My name's Daniel Ross. I was an avid biker all my life growing up as a kid in Nova Scotia, and then took a break from bikes like many of us did to have a family. And I was shopping for a kitchen and with my wife, and she said, "I'm going to look at these knobs. Why don't you go next door?" And it was a Harley dealership. And in 2008, I bought a Road Glide. I said, "I thought you didn't want me to touch a bike again." She said, "Well, those ones are slow." And that's what got me into biking. Even when I was a kid, I went across the country, but I never did the Cabot Trail. And I went around with a couple guys on a road trip, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, "Oh, how can this be right here and so amazing?" And you know, like there's been people talking about it forever, but there's never been someone to really, really help people out. So I started a website in 2010 or 2009. And, you know, I have a restaurant up there, Coastal Waters. People can drop in, buy a t-shirt. I got a model Rob wearing one right now. Stand up, Rob. See? There. And so I sell those shirts, and people eat at the restaurant to help out the boys that sell them for me, and they don't make any money off them. They just sell them for me. And then every year I made a commitment to hand deliver $500 to American veterans. And I do that through Rolling Thunder. And it's the reason I've done it that way is I'm trying to give back to the people that come from far away. And I wanted to get a charity that bikers really liked. And it just seems that bikers in both countries really respect their veterans. And as of now, we've raised over $21,000 from little Cape Breton, Nova Scotia to the U.S.
Wow, great. And we'll talk more about our charity stuff coming up in the chat a little bit later on.
Okay, awesome.
Thanks, Daniel. And I'm sorry, Rob?
Hi, everyone. As you know, I'm Rob. My background with bikes is dirt bikes as a kid when I lived in BC. Then took the break, and then I actually decided I wanted to get a bike again in 2009 when I was in Afghanistan. So that was back when I was living in Nova Scotia then. And so when I did my first motorcycle trip around the Cabot Trail in 2011, and Daniel's website was a huge resource. I had driven around it, pulling an RV in the 90s when I lived here before. So it's just a great place. Also, having grown up and ridden in BC, it is the closest thing to BC that you'll get. And actually, it has more coastline, really, with roads on it than you can get a lot of places in BC. So it's cool in that aspect. But right now, I ride a 2014 Victory that I bought the day the doctor told me I had cancer, because I wasn't sure if I'd ever get a new bike again. So my wife was more than willing to understand that when I said instead of buying a used bike, I'm going to buy a new one. And so I still have that bike. And she's nagging me in the background about when I was in Afghanistan and said I wanted to go riding again. She actually, when I came home for a mid-tour break, she actually already had a bike in the garage, 97 Shadow 1100. And so she bought me a bike to help me get back into this path. As part of my cancer journey, I got onto YouTube and stuff like that. So I have a cancer blog. I have Facebook, Instagram, and stuff like that, all under the name Dead Nought. And that's kind of my story.
Oh, great. Thanks, Rob. We'll hear more from you as we go through. Kev?
Hey, Superman Kev. 2001, that's me, Kevin. I've got my channel, and I ride a 2012 Electric Glide, and I make a lot of silly videos. Anybody who's watched my channel knows. Always around motorcycles, but yeah, I ride with the local group, and I ride a lot. Anyway, that's pretty much me.
Good. Wayne?
So my channel's Jarvis Biker, and a lot of long hauls on my 2005 Goldwing, and I have a 2012 Concord as well. Do a little bit of review of certain biker products and stuff. So a little bit of everything on my channel, and I've been riding since I was 17, and I'm too old to tell you how old I am now.
Which isn't that old, right? Because you and I talk. I think we're only 2 months apart. So that makes both of us old.
We're old.
We're old.
We're all old.
All right. And good morning. I'm Dave. I have the channel Harley Diners Rides, along with my wife Lorelei. We'll be out riding not as soon as you guys because my bike's still in the shop being repaired, but we will get out soon. So we also talk about motorcycles, and we have a 38-foot fifth wheel toy hauler that we use to go places, use as a base camp, and ride from there. So anyway, there's our introductions. This is your panel for this morning. And what I thought we'd start off with is a little video that I was able to get from the Cape Breton Tourism. And this will set the stage for our discussion for this morning. So let's have that.
Awesome.
It is. You know what? I watched that, and it just, the feeling inside, you just want to get out there and ride that country, that countryside. So let's start off with our first question. And, Rob, why don't we start off with you, because you're the guy that kind of got us going on the Cabot Trail in this chat room, a few weeks back. Okay.
Oh, thanks. Well, part of it, I'll start with a bit of the big picture. Is Nova Scotia is great for a lot of things: history, touristy, brewery, and one of the places you can get all of that is Cape Breton Island. And so there's so many different places you can go see, and around every corner you just have a new view. So you want to really embrace it, and it allows you to just enjoy the ride, which is something that you mentioned watching Wild Hogs recently. It's about enjoying the ride, and the Cabot Trail is one of those places where you just enjoy the scenery and enjoy the ride. You don't have to go fast, you just go. And so, the first time I rode it in 2010, my destination was Sydney in 2 days from Halifax. It's a 4-hour ride. So I took my time and just enjoyed it and stopped wherever. And that's what I find the Cabot Trail can do, is it just invokes that emotion of enjoying the ride.
Great stuff.
That's what I'd say about it.
Thanks. Daniel?
Yeah, thanks, Dave. Yeah, like what Rob was saying, it's a 4-hour ride to Sydney from Halifax, and probably saw a little glimpse of it and then had a detour. But the Cabot Trail, it is true. It has a lot of everything. If you're coming up from the New England area, if you're coming up through that way, you can take the ferry and drop into Halifax and have some of our city. And Halifax is an old city. If you want more of that scene, that's probably about the only thing that Cape Breton Island is lacking, would be that intense population. Of course, half of us live in Halifax. So there's that, but you go to Cape Breton, and just like what Rob said, and I do the same thing. I do a week-long tour, and the first thing I do is I introduce them to the people that were here first, 13,000 years ago, our Mi'kmaq. So I take them to Goat Island, and that's our first culture. And then you have Acadian culture, you have Celtic culture, and it's a lovely mix of a bunch of different people, and all are welcoming. And I think the most important thing, if you're listening to this and you're Canadian or American and you just want to come and see the Cabot Trail, there's a saying that Cape Breton says, oh geez, if I can remember it, but about a piece of your heart will stay here, And Cape Breton isn't just a Canadian thing or a Nova Scotian thing. It's a gem of the world. And if you own a motorcycle, then it's your playground, and you're very welcome to come here and just immerse yourself in it. And the whole time, it's a better feeling. If you have great weather and great friends on the Cabot Trail and you're there with your motorcycle, I'm guaranteeing you it's going to be a legendary trip, just from the people. And then just like the way you saw those drone shots, well, sometimes you feel like the drone when you're on the Cabot Trail. There's 4 mountain passes, which make 8, because you can go both ways, and they're different every time. I have friends listening in. Actually, they were on the motorcycles in those shots. It was an older clip, but Paula and Kevin Camus, they live in Camp, and they drive it all the time. They never get sick of it, and it's changing every year as far as road conditions. A lot of construction over the last couple of years, and it's almost complete.
Wow. Good stuff, right? And your friends were part of that original shoot there, were they, Daniel?
Yeah, and it might have been me too. Like when I go on my tour, I take journalists with me. So whenever you see shots in the magazines, the Cabot Trail and whatnot, I take one of the photographers from Destination Cape Breton. That's the agency that would have made that video. Mm-hmm. And they come with us, and they get all the group shots they need and stuff. And I think Paula and Kevin were there. There was actually a scene of a bike leaving. I'm pretty sure that was Paula, and that was at the Canadian Military Monument. And there is, if you're like, I know Rob is former military, retired. Thank you, Robert, for your service.
No, 2 more weeks. 2 more weeks.
2 more weeks. Oh shoot. Okay.
Yeah.
Hang in there.
Easter weekend is the end.
Oh wow. Awesome. So anyone that's in military or really enjoys their friends that serve and whatnot have to see this rock. Rob, you know the one I'm talking about. You're just coming into Camp. And there's a message there that I always tell people not to take a photo of, that the message should only be read when you're standing there. And instead of a dedication that salutes our heroes, it's like our country is apologizing for what they can't see. It's amazing, really. It's really moving, and it's one of my favorite spots in the trail. And I've done the trail very many times. I've never skipped that rock, and I always look out and be thankful. And I'm telling you guys right now, I'll be so excited to see that rock again.
Right. Great stuff. Okay, so let's move on to our question number 2. This is also, I'm going to pose this to our guests. And Rob, do you want to start off? How's the 2021 riding season shaping up for you?
I think it's going to be great. As I mentioned, in 2 weeks, I'm going to be officially retired. So I come out of Easter as
good stuff.
So the weather's starting to come around here. I still see a bunch of snow outside, but it's melting fast, and this should be a good week to get rid of it. So hopefully I'll be out on the bike soon. I picked up my veteran plate this week and for the bike, so I'll have all that ready to go. No, I think it's going to work out really good. I'll keep some of the charity stuff for the charity ride topic later. But I'm looking forward to different things I can do. Yesterday with some local channels, I like Coastal Gypsies, Twisted Wrist Moto, and Shoreline Rider, as well as I've ridden with Snowbird Biker here in Nova Scotia. We're trying to put together some stuff to just really have fun. We did indoor electric go-karts yesterday, so hopefully there'll be some videos coming out on that soon. When you guys come out here, we'll set stuff up, and there'll be things to do that'll just make it fun. Do I make a plan of trying to hit as many microbreweries in Nova Scotia as I can, or, I just have I now have a bit more time on my hands, so I have that flexibility, and I'm just looking forward to spending more time on the bike.
Wow, very good. Thanks, Rob. Hey, Daniel.
I'm in the opposite direction of Rob. Rob's got more saddle time. I had a 4,000 kilometer season last year. I had a ski fall January 2020, so that's about 15 months ago. And I had chronic fatigue for a little while, and so I'm still kind of in poor health. I'm hoping that I can get a couple surgeries done through this summer, my brother actually just arrived from Ottawa. He's quarantining at my parents' now. He'll be taking my bike, which I just set up real good. So it's a 2018 Street Glide Stage 4. It flies. So he's coming down. He's been a biker. He's kind of got me into bikes as a kid, and this is the second time I'm giving him a bike as a lend. The first time I got caught in a high-speed chase that was 26 kilometers long. Lost my license for 6 months, and I had a brand new bike. So I had to get to court in 11 days. So I drove across the country, left the bike there, flew home with no license, flew back out 6 months after my suspension, and drove it back home across the country. So this is David's second time getting a bike. But anyways, a lot of people don't know I'm laid up right now, but I definitely won't be riding an inch this year. But last year with COVID, I never rode the Cabot Trail. We never sold any shirts. We never encouraged anyone to drop in. There was no tours anyways. Rob is unique in the way that he's from Nova Scotia and reached out to me. But most of the people that reach out to me aren't familiar with the area at all. And but anyway, so I was really not very busy with the Cabot Trail Biker stuff. So my wife and I did a couple trips. Thank God we did. And we went, I went above the Bay of Fundy, then I went below it. And I discovered more riding in other places in Nova Scotia. And I think that's important. I really think that one of the opportunities for Cape Breton, and I work with Destination Cape Breton on things like this, so I have their back and stuff. What I'm trying to really make it feel like is like I said before, Cape Breton, if you have a motorcycle, the Cabot Trail is kind of for you. You'll do it once and you'll be like, why did they pave this? There's no one that lives here hardly at all. It's just a playground for bikes. And I think that a very important piece of doing the Cabot Trail multiple times in your lifetime as a rider is to know and be aware of everything. Like, you might be a group, like Robert just named a whole bunch of friends that he wanted to travel with. You know, someone might be a foodie, someone might like the music, someone might like the city. So I'm trying to familiarize myself with things that everybody likes. And you're a perfect example, Dave, coming down with that fifth wheel, where to set up base and stuff. If you're with people that don't want to be riding 500 miles a day, I need to know all these things so that I can direct you to the right spot. Because people that talk to me first, as soon as they name what they want, I can help them out. For example, I had a couple guys drunk on the Cabot Trail saying, "Where's there a peeler bar?" And I'm like, you should have contacted me before your trip, because they're not on the Cabot Trail. So, you know, I have a good knowledge base. I found last year traveling the mainland, Nova Scotia as a rider and not helping people was good for me. And so this year I'm very available to help everyone out. One of the only things I can do now is be on a computer. I have monitors mounted above my head, and I'm able to do all that stuff easily. So I'll be like a switchboard for everybody else if they're playing. And don't feel bad for me. I don't care how old you are. I have already had more fun than every one of you. I'm taking a pause, and I'll be back.
Very good. Now I hear, correct me if I'm wrong, but I hear Nova Scotia and New Brunswick have opened their borders now. Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah. So right now, if you come from New Brunswick, you don't have to isolate coming to Nova Scotia. But if you go Nova Scotia to New Brunswick makes you isolate.
Okay.
But they're targeting April 19th for the entire Atlantic bubble to be reinflated.
Oh, really? Okay.
Reinflated. That sounds like reinstated and reinflated. Yeah. When they're talking about Joe Biden and Trudeau about the border, they got to bring Higgs into the conversation. That guy is like, shut her down. So for all you Ontarian guys here, you need to helicopter in over New Brunswick. That's going to be your break that you're going to be looking at this summer. I guarantee you that. So even when it comes to the whole maritime bubble, in my opinion, based on watching the news and stuff, Higgs is going to play a major role in all that stuff for opening it up for just even our Canadian friends that want to come out and ride.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I've got 2 weeks planned for the last 2 weeks of August, my wife and I, and it'll just really depend on what's open as to what direction we go, right? So we're going to do a last minute plan, right?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah. Wayne, Kev, any quick comments or questions?
All I want to say is, like, when I did the Cabot Trail only once, and I was towing a trailer. I won't do that again. I could smell my brakes.
Oh, sorry, a trailer behind your bike?
No, behind the car.
Oh, okay.
And my wife and I went, and we actually ended up on the Cabot Trail by accident. I know that sounds ridiculous, but we missed the turn to get the ferry to go to PEI. And we just kept going. And then all of a sudden, it's like, man, I'm sure we're going to get there soon. And then we see the sign, "Welcome to Cape Breton." It's like, okay, well, I guess we're doing the Cabot Trail.
Yeah. So like my riding group, we've got it planned as a backup trip we've got 3 trips in the works right now, and they've been in the works since end of last year. So we've got the Ozarks, we've got Colorado with the wives, and if we can't get across the border, then it's Cabot Trail. So if we can go that way, and if not, I guess we're doing another Northern Ontario trip till it opens up. So
yeah, luckily we got some good riding in Ontario here too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right around Dave's house.
Yeah.
You guys have been talking to my wife too much. You know that. Okay, let's move on then. Okay, so this question is going to be for the whole group because some of us do have experience with the Cabot Trail. So, but again, we're going to start off with our guests. We'll start with Daniel. What is your favorite part of the Cabot Trail? And as a big question that always gets asked, should I ride it clockwise or counterclockwise?
Well, thank you very much. I didn't have to think very hard about that. Absolutely, without question. My favorite part of the Cabot Trail is the counterclockwise climb of Cape Smoky. It is probably the only place that no matter how big your bike is, it will earn its keep getting up that hill. It's just a real nice pull, and even if you're not into performance, it just feels really steady. Even if you go slow, I'm sure it's just a really good feeling. They've just rebuilt it. I haven't rode it since it's been rebuilt. I spoke to the engineers that were on site and said, man, leave the serpentine swings right at the very bottom. And I can't believe it, but they did. They changed a hairpin, which a lot of bikers say, oh no, the hairpin, but the hairpin was terrible. It had a large settling as it hit a bridge, so you couldn't hit it with any speed. And I know of at least 3 guys that have gone down figuring out where first gear is or hitting it in second gear and not having enough speed to get up it. So they made that better, and that's my favorite part. You asked about clockwise and counterclockwise. It's a dead even split. Everyone argues it one way or the other, and everyone feels that they're way more right than the other person's perspective on it. Of course, and it's not a cliche thing to say, it totally looks different both ways. It absolutely does. When you showed that video of the drone and stuff, of course, I'm very familiar with every spot. There are views you see in that video, Dave, when you were saying, oh my God, it just really moved me. There's views on that video that you can do the Cabot Trail one way and not recognize those views. You have to see it both ways. It's a fact. Like if you do the Cabot Trail one direction only, you are missing half of the views. You really are. And so that just has to be considered. However, when people come to the Cabot Trail, it might be easy for a retired bum like Rob, soon, or you, Dave, with the trailer and stuff, to really spend a lot of time on the trail. But many of the people that come to the Cabot Trail that ask for my help on their trip or whatever, they're a day here, they got one day, then they're going back and stuff like that. So I always encourage people to plan 2 riding days on the loop. And if it was rain or wind one day and it was perfect sun the other day, I'd just encourage them to go on it, once. It's no fun to be there in poor weather. And I choose counterclockwise or clockwise when I suggest it to people based on where they're staying on the trail. So if you're staying in Bedeck, nothing matters. But if you're staying in a place like, let's say you're staying in Cheticamp, I'd never want to go counterclockwise from Cheticamp, because then your early morning is starting in the mountains, and that's so beautiful, and I'd want it to be peak day. So I like seeing people between Cheticamp and Ingonish at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And that's just so that they're just there in the good times, like you have a few miles under you. You don't want to be just like right in the park right away. So depends on that. So if you're coming, I always like it when people ask me questions. Let's say, for example, Dave, I'll remember that you and your wife are coming late August. The absolute best thing is the day you enter the day you enter Nova Scotia, just check in with me again. And I know the forecast, like Rob would be able to tell you too. There'd be some forecasts that I can look at that I'll see what your riding day is the next day. And the weather changes a lot in Nova Scotia, and you can put yourself in the right spots based on weather as well. So always check in as soon as you get to Nova Scotia. And I'm just nosy, especially this year, because I'm not able to do what you're doing. So I'll be jealous. I'll be especially interested.
Well, hopefully the borders open in late August, and we can. We'll definitely reach out with you.
Yeah, for sure. I'll you have to go by where I live to get to the Cabot Trail, and there's a brewery now that is within a kilometer from my house. And so when right in my last before the world ended, they make my Cabot Trail Biker brew actually, and Rob was with me right at the start of that, I think. Rob?
Pretty close. I've had a few.
So you can swing by and maybe I can buy you a pint, and you can see where I live.
Absolutely. Sounds great. Well, I'll buy you a pint too then.
Sounds good.
Thanks, Daniel. Rob?
I'm not sure I have a favorite part yet. Like when I did the Cabot Trail last October, the Cape Smoky that Daniel's talking about is nice, fresh pavement. Even the pullouts that used to be gravel are now paved and smooth. And the reason I haven't actually been able to properly edit my video together is I actually have 3 camera views of part of that section of road that I'm trying to figure out how to put together. I have a drone shot at the top part of Cape Smoky. I have a frame-mounted camera looking forward and a helmet camera of that one section, and I'm trying to sync them all together. I've probably spent about 16 hours so far trying to figure that out and just try to make it just right, because it is a beautiful thing. And it's there's enough pullouts that a lot of times people stop, turn around, go the other way, because this goes into the clockwise, counterclockwise. Do you have more fun pulling a hill up or coasting down? Because that's the problem, is there's just as much up as down, whichever way you go. So the ability to stop, turn around, and go back up or back down to do it again is one of the things you have to plan time for. So, and that's just the big thing. Daniel mentioned the sun, and to me, that's actually a big point, because I agree. Rolling into Shedda Camp, you want it with the sun to the west because the view is spectacular.
Yeah.
You come out of the mountains onto the ocean, and you're just starting to drop down a valley, and you can just see the big expanse of the ocean in front of you. You need the lighting for that to really appreciate it. But also, as he mentioned, like when you get along the top, there's one section where you feel like you're at the highest point because the road on both sides slopes down as you're going along the top of a ridge. And they have like pullouts on either side because you got a view on either side. So which way do you go? And so that's kind of the thing. And so for me, I usually stay, like last year I stayed Port Hood, which isn't quite on the trail, but it's south of the trail. The year before was Bedeck. And counterclockwise there works best because then you get the morning sun while you're on the Bedeck side, which is nice. My biggest disappointment with doing that is Big Spruce Brewery isn't open that early in the morning. So you have to, if you're staying in Bedeck, you grab a beer on your way in, but you can't get one when you start. So that's sometimes you want to have that fun of picking where you stop and just taking your time. And one of the things Daniel first told me when I first time doing it is you have to plan for the whole day. Yeah, it's 285 kilometers, I think the video said, but if you want to enjoy it, it's an 8 to 10 hour day, pure and simple. And if you try to do it in less, you're not going to have as much fun.
Wow. Thanks, Rob. Kev?
You know what? We had a great time when we did it. Now, mind you, I wasn't on a motorcycle, and all I kept thinking was, I wish I was on my bike. I wish I was on my bike. I wish I was on my bike. But there were 2 things about the Cabot Trail that nobody ever mentions. My wife and I like looking at some of the little shops and things, and there are some fantastic artists along the way, and we saw some of the coolest stuff in some of these little shops, and they're little, like, small little places along the way, and you're talking to the artists themselves or whatever, and that was kind of cool. My favorite part though, I think, was I don't know, it's right when you're on the ocean at the end.
Oh, there.
No, like when you start turning around, when you start turning around, and
Okay.
and you're up high, and it's like the road just goes on forever.
Yeah.
And it's like weaving along, and you can see it from this high part, and it just seems like it's just this winding road that seems to go forever. It
Yeah,
was
you're
kind
talking
of cool.
about Cheticamp. So you're on French Mountain looking into Cheticamp.
Yeah.
And that's where that rock is I was speaking about. And then you can see the road go into the distance. And that's where there's a lot of culture. That's our Acadian culture.
That's cool. And there's all the signs up saying that you can see whales here, from there.
Yeah.
We had binoculars, and we're like scouring the ocean trying to find any whales. We didn't see any. But yeah, that was the favorite part. What was weird for us though is like we started on a beautiful, beautiful sunny day, and as soon as we got around to the other side, then fog rolled in, and rain, and we had like a beautiful day and a lousy day in one day.
Hey, wait now. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So if you were on a bike and you spoke to me, you would have had a sunny day followed by a cloudy and rainy day behind you, and then you would have been on the other side and still a sunny day, and you wouldn't even have known the difference.
Oh, there you go.
That's exactly what I mean. So
yeah, the weather patterns
if you were
up
on
there.
a bike, it would have been different, right? You would have been soaked, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Huh. Weather patterns are really nuts around here.
Yeah, it is a very, very, like, it's hard to describe just how beautiful it is when you get I knew what I was in for before I left, I thought. Mm-hmm. But then when you get there, it's like, holy crap, is this ever cool?
Yeah. It's funny. When I do my tours, and we're going around the trail or whatever, especially on my day tours where we do the whole thing in one day. It's like, I had to take mics out of riders because it's like, ooh, oh.
Yeah.
So now I just bud them up and that's it. And then just have one person with a mic. But no, that's awesome that you remember seeing the ocean. It could have been Pleasant Bay too, when you get through the first bit of the forest and then you come out in the water again. It's Pleasant Bay.
What is the place where you get down right by the ocean, like when you're right there, because you're up down.
Yeah. So that is looking. When you said you could see the road wind in for a long time, there's actually there's only really one spot. It's cool to mention that you're really right on the ocean. There's only one spot, and that is right going into Cheticamp. There's a little bridge between two mountains. It's like a little causeway almost, but it's a natural causeway.
It was just so awesome. And then the other thing, I have two questions for you. I'm thinking to myself, maybe I can cheat and buy a T-shirt, and there was nowhere to buy a T-shirt.
You're not allowed buying a T-shirt yet. You have to do this on a bike. But unless you want me to print a custom one that says, me, my wife, and my RV went around the Cabot Trail. You got to earn this one.
Yeah. But you could buy badges at the one place, at Cabot Trail, but that was the only thing I saw.
Yeah. Well, that's why my idea works, is because now there is a place.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Anyway, I you know what? I really, really want to do it. It's just until I can travel there. I want to ride all the way out.
Yeah.
So until I can ride all the way out, I'm not going to do it. If they have the bubble and I have to wait 2 weeks, I'm going to wait.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I would say, listen. The late August Ontario bike trip, I can see it for sure. I really expect to see that. Early in the summer, I would disagree with Dave's plan, but when he's saying late August, I mean, you're going to have so much feel for it as it goes. And then, is it Jarvis who was saying about might be going into the States if it doesn't work, could come to Cape Breton? Yeah. As much as the virus is a serious thing and blah, 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 and everyone's really focusing on keeping people safe, especially here in the Maritimes, there's a real call for tourism. And it's gutted us here, not just financially, but just like the relationships that I did not make this past year because of no biking. there's a real longing for that. And when Cape Bretoners are welcoming, as well as any tourism town, I'm sure they all just long for it a lot. So there's going to be a lot of pressure to welcome people to enjoy every tourist spot across Canada, and Cape Breton's going to be no different.
Yeah.
So and always be in touch with me too, seeing how things are going. Like even little things like your favorite restaurant's still open, or there's lots of hotels open, because things might have changed. It's people had a tough go, like in all places in the world, and Cape Breton is no exception.
Yeah, we so enjoyed that trip. I mean, it was so impromptu, and then we ended up I ended up being the highlight, which is kind of funny because we weren't planning on going there.
Well, another thing too I was just making fun of you for doing that in the RV. Your bike trip will be twice as good as someone else's, just because you are familiar with the place, just a little bit familiar, and it's that little tiny bit of knowledge when you apply your other bike trip knowledge that you have over all the years of riding, you'll be able to put yourself a good trip that like you're well rested. You're all these things, your tires are good when you come here. A lot of people complain that Cabot Trail is hard on tires. The Cabot Trail is extremely hard on tires. You know why? Because it's really fun to motorcycle the Cabot Trail. You're going up and down. It's so awesome.
There was some really great parts of the road that were paved very well, but there was some horrible spots too.
That's right. Yeah, and that's a great point. So when the tourism season was wiped out, there was something that was really important that was able to happen on Cape Smoky. When they did the construction there, the bid was able to be done with the construction company having 10 minutes of full no traffic. So can you imagine the construction company there trying to move boulders and stuff and have 10 minutes of no traffic? So that means traffic was stopped on both sides. So you stop, you pile up for 10 minutes going counterclockwise, and at the top of the hill, they're stopped and not going anywhere clockwise. That's a major stop. I don't think that could have happened. I don't think they could have done the contract that way in a normal tourism year. And that's why Rob was able to drive it in new pavement last fall. It was done, pretty quickly.
It's better now.
It's brand new, but there's one spot that's really bad that's left, and that's in up by where is it? It's in between the North Mountain and coming back this way clockwise. What's the name of the place? Anyways, small little town there. It's on the way out to around White Point and stuff. Anyways, it's one bad section they got to fix. I'm hoping it gets fixed this year. But another thing that's really important that happened here. You guys ever have a growth in Northern Ontario, a lot of bicycle routes, like a lot of people biking through the places? Well, the Cabot Trail, a lot of it is a national park, and 100% of the national park will have a bicycle lane. And that is extremely important, especially when there's a lot of recreational vehicles around. Because if you're driving and there's a bicycle on your side of the road, then you're responsible to give that cyclist a meter. And that's just the way it goes. So if you're meeting traffic and there's other big RVs and stuff coming by, then an RV or a big truck has to slow down, wait to meet that oncoming traffic, pull around, give a meter to the bicycle, and continue on. That can really slow up the traffic. And so now you have a bicycle lane through 100% of the national park. So that was federal money that went in to do this paving project. The road is artwork, and I encourage anyone that's there to take a photograph of the way they made this road to the Cabot Trail. It's one of the hardest places to work. These trucks that are taking asphalt up these mountains, these climbs are incredible. Like Mackenzie Mountain switchbacks. Imagine building a road there. Like the work they put into it is it's unreal. So the fact that they put in this bicycle lane, if you're going up in an RV like you were that time with your wife, and there's a bicycle on the way up a mountain with you, and you had to stop and then start again. Holy smokes, that really slows down traffic. So the bicycle lane is never talked about very much in the motorcycling world, but it's a fantastic thing, and we're very lucky that the federal government invested that way and made it easy to get around bicycles on the trail.
Good. Wayne, any comments?
I was going to comment on the bicycles because you see that in Algonquin Park, and also
Exactly.
around the Niagara Peninsula. You'll see a lot of bike races and stuff going on constantly through the parks and stuff. So it's a hazard. It's a hazard, but they got to have their fun too, right? So
Yeah, good.
I
And
always like going up a hill and seeing a cyclist, and I always say, must be really hard doing all that pedaling.
Mhm.
No, I always do like to stop and commend a cyclist on their work and just tell them that if they ever get really tired, there's things called throttles, and they're so cool.
oh, well, I had the fortunate circumstances of being retired, right? Rob, you'll understand this as in another 14 days. So my wife, she was going to St. John's, Newfoundland, for a conference, and I was invited to go along. And I said, sure. She was going to fly. I was going to ride my bike. And a friend of mine, Carl, the two of us, we rode down together along the St. Lawrence Seaway down through, I think it was Campbellford, Campbellton in New Brunswick, and then down through, onto Cape Breton Island up to Sydney.
Yeah.
And then, the two of us were going to ride the Cabot Trail. And then when we were finished, Carl was heading home. I was going to jump on the ferry over to Port aux Basques, and then ride Newfoundland. And we had a late start for our ride on the Cabot Trail because my friend's bike had a bad battery, and it chose that morning to not start. And it took, I think, almost 2 hours to get somebody out to boost the bike, right? So my favorite part of the Cabot Trail, because we did it in one day, is what you're calling Cape Smoky. I didn't know what it was at the time.
I didn't either.
Okay.
And I got to tell you, I never thought we were going to end going up the mountain. It just seemed like forever that you had more curves and more hill, right? And when you get to the top of Cape Smoky, you're there. You feel like you're at the top of the world looking out over the ocean, right? And I was fortunate to videotape that part of the ride, and I've used it a couple of times in different videos that I've had, right? But what a beautiful, trip it was, right? And at the end of it, when we came back down to the main highway, my friend Carl turned right, I turned left, head back up into North Sydney, and caught the ferry over to Newfoundland, right? But
that's an awesome trip.
It was, and I've told this story before. Is everybody warning me about moose?
Yeah.
Right. And when I got off the ferry in Port aux Basques, Newfoundland, right, Wayne's laughing already. He's heard this. As I get off the ferry and I'm starting to do the highway run up, up to Corner Brook, I no sooner hit the highway than this big old cow and calf just walked right in front of me. And I hit the brakes and I stopped. And there I am doing the commentary of the moose and the calf just wandered. They didn't even care who I was. And off they go. I get up to Corner Brook. There was a McDonald's there and stopped in there for a bite to eat. Took my helmet off, looked at my camera, and I still had the lens cap on the camera.
Then it didn't happen.
It didn't happen. Well, you got the voice.
I can give the commentary, right? It's like old time. No,
You didn't
prior
see a
to the
moose.
TV, you have radio.
Yeah.
So that was it, right? But I'll say this: when I only saw on the Cabot Trail, I think we only saw 2 or 3 moose off the side of the road, grazing, right? But what a great trip it was, and we didn't know anything about it other than Cabot Trail. Here's the route, right? This is where we'll stop for dinner. and we just went, and I tell you, I was just so in love with the scenery and the road, and for both of you to have this in your backyard, God, I'm envious, right? You guys are just in a right spot.
Yeah,
So
awesome.
Right now,
Yeah,
I
but
feel
you
like
guys,
I feel like I need a beer, right?
You know,
All right.
the one thing I'd like to say is anybody who is listening or watching this, if you haven't seen that Harley Davidson documentary, what is it called again, Daniel?
Common Ground.
Common Ground. I watched the whole series of them, but the one that you were in is about the Cabot Trail, and it was really, really well done. I mean, it was so cool. Is that the kind of things that people would expect if they did that ride with you? Like, do you do all of those things that you did with that fellow in the video?
Yeah, well, on the tour that I sell, I do all the things that I did on that. What happened with the video with Harley? I think people were part of Hog membership could apply to be a host like I was.
Yeah.
And what happened was the producer called, but the producer wasn't Harley. They were hired by Harley. So the producer called me and kept on asking me questions and questions and questions. And my apologies to Newfoundland. They were trying to get advice to go to Newfoundland because they wanted to go coast to coast on Canada. You know, that's what they were trying to do. And I said, I just said, I just want you to, there's one culture in Newfoundland, it seems, whereas we have so much here. And so when I said in one loop, like in one this part of the island, it's, I mean, when it comes to motorcycles, I mean, Hog itself already had a vote and said Cabot Trail is one of the favorites. I think 97% voted in favor of Cabot Trail being the nicest place to ride a motorcycle in Canada. So it had a bias that way. And I said, so if you're trying to reach a motorcycle audience, I mean, it's right here. And then I came up with ideas. So people really mean a lot here. I hear Cabot Trail biker stories that people tell to me. My favorite ones are, we ran out of gas and this person mowed their lawn, took us in. Then they started playing their fiddle. Then they didn't want us to drive home. So they drove us all to the hotel, you know, got a sober drive for us to the hotel and picked us up the next morning, fed us breakfast and sent us on our way with our bikes. Those are the types of things that happen here. And, you know, not just the staged live music and whatnot, but people are really genuine here. You'll end up having experiences with the locals. And so on my tour, that's what I do. And on that TV show, like the fishing boat we were on wasn't a tour. It was a buddy of mine. And, you know, the place where we partied was Shane McDougall's cottage there. And if anyone mentions music, motorcycles, and Cape Breton, you just say Shane McDougall. I mean, he just knows everybody that plays music. I know he volunteered to help out music concerts and stuff. So of course we went there. And the other thing that happened on that Harley thing that I feel bad for Quebec and the West Coast, the producers were calling me from LA saying, let's get this shot in April so that we can have it on people's TV screens in the summer and stuff by the time the anniversary was. I'm like, you're not doing BC in April. And I like Quebec, there's snow in the Quebec shot. They were freezing in BC. And when they came to Cape Breton, when we arrived on Cape Breton the day before, it snowed. And then when we got to Cape Breton, it was the 5 most beautiful, gorgeous days ever.
Ooh.
It was unreal. And then when they left, it snowed the Sunday after they were gone.
Oh,
so
geez.
we just lucked out, and that's why it looked like we were having fun, because oh my God,
You
we were
were.
having a lot of fun. Oh, I want to tell you a quick story since you watched the show. Do you remember when Lassant was taking the money and doing this?
Yeah.
And then it would go away, and
Yeah.
then he'd take a $10 bill.
Yeah.
Okay, but he'd be giving people hundreds. Well,
Yeah.
So the producers had cash for us. I think they gave us like $50 a day for incidentals or something like that, would give us money. But so we didn't need any money for anything, it didn't seem. And we're going along, and Lassant was taking people's $10 bills and turning them into hundreds, and he did it like 3 times. And I remember the producer at dinner comes over and said, Lassant, you're gonna have to stop making our hundreds disappear, because every time he made them reappear, he'd give them to the people of the shot, but they left with $100 after giving them 10 or 20 bucks every time. And he was insanely good at illusion. It was uncanny. We went around the trail, and it got so fun that I would just, right in the middle of, I don't know if it was on the show or not, but every time we were at a restaurant, I'm like, hey there, does anyone want to see a $5 bill change into 100? I'd just do stuff like that just to piss off the producers. They see their heads go down. I'm like, oh, well, at least we can make it go into a 20. Anyway, so we had a lot of fun, and he could do anything he could make anything disappear. And one thing that wasn't on the show that I have to say was his most impressive trick was he goes to my wife and puts a napkin in her left hand. And he said, sweetheart, I want you to hold on to that with all your strength, and I'm going to take it through your body and make it appear in your other hand. So my wife was concentrating, keeping the napkin in her left hand, and he tapped her hands behind her back and in front of her and kind of hugged her around the back. And he did that back and forth maybe 3 or 4 times. And he goes, did you feel anything? She's like, no. Did you feel me take that napkin? She goes, no. And then he gets her to open her hands, and she reveals that the napkin actually never moved. And we were all expecting it to move. So he goes, oh my, geez, I'm going to have to work on that one. I don't know if I have the time. What time is it, Shauna? And she looks down at her empty wrist, and he was wearing her watch. Like, he was that good. It was really slick. Yeah.
That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, it was, I really enjoyed that one. Like, of all of them, I think the one for the Cabot Trail was my favorite. It was no, seriously.
Yeah, out of the 3, the Cabot Trail, definitely. You had the best ride and that. Yeah. Now I have to ask you this. So if you go to Newfoundland, you got to kiss the cod.
Yeah.
If you go to Nova Scotia, you got to hang the lobster. Right?
Yeah.
Which claw do you use to hang the lobster? Because I've heard that the lobster claw, the left and the right, are different.
Yeah.
Which one do you hang it from?
I think we were doing it on the feeler one, but I would, I'd take a look at the lobster first, but because sometimes the crushers might have a bone that sticks out really far or whatever. Yeah, we did it on the feeler. I think you want as much, it's like a bed of nails, you want as much surface area as possible. So don't dangle it from the edge of your hand. And the only way to knock a lobster off sometimes is to remove the arm from the lobster and wait until the nerves finally release the freaking claw. Yeah.
So you didn't have that happen in your shoot, did you?
No, we got her done pretty good, actually.
No scars.
Yeah, no scars. It turns up a little blood every once in a while if you don't do it right. I do it on my tour as well, and so there's been a few cuts here and there, but usually works out pretty good.
Good stuff. Okay, we'll move on, and here we go. So we talk about this great resource that you've created, and Rob, I've heard you talk about it also. So how has the Cabot Trail Biker grown since the beginning? Because I watched one of your earlier videos on Cape Smoky. I think you were on your first bike, where you were grinding the pipes and the foot pegs going up the hill, right? And you get to the top and you turn around and laugh at your buddy that's so lagging behind you, right? So maybe between you and Rob, tell us, like, how have you grown? Because I look at your website and you do a lot of things for bikers in the sense of coming to Cape Breton.
Yeah. One of the things I did with my website is I don't accept money from anybody. So when you're not paid, then you can be honest. So if I say, of course I tell people to go to the Coastal Restaurant because that's where I sell my shirts. But I sell my shirts at that restaurant because Jason and Keith were really good humans to me when I was having trouble starting the whole Cabot Trail Biker project in the first place. And I'd go there, and they were just always really kind, and their staff was really kind. And I came up with this idea with them, and they've been with me from the start. But by not accepting money from other people, then if they say, well, where should we stay? Well, it depends. If I was staying with all you guys, if all 6 of us went for a trip around the Cabot Trail, I'm not going to want to wine and dine you and treat you to a $300 stay. I'd want to go to a hotel that was clean and nice and had breakfast at it, like Cabot Trail Motel. Awesome value. Awesome, right? Rob, look at Rob.
Great view as well, just across the Medora Lake there. I've stayed there a couple times. Yeah, totally worth it. Great value.
Amazing. Great value. You don't have to move for breakfast. And then there's another time that, Dave, you're going through with your wife, go to the Celtic Lodge. Have breakfast included there, drop a couple $100 and go for a walk the next morning. It's beautiful. I mean, the Celtic Key, my buddy owns that. I mean, I'm honest about that on my site, but the place is amazing. And, I send a lot of bikers there if they're having a real awesome trip. So I think that's the success of my site, is that no one pays me. So it's just being honest. And if someone said this place is really bad, or, I've stayed at places that were really, really bad, not worth the value. And I'm honest about that. And there's places that never get any bikers from me. That's for sure. And Nova Scotia is pretty good. I've seen other places in the Maritimes where the accommodations, I don't find the value they are on Cape Breton. And there's also places that aren't on the Cabot Trail. Like my cousin Shauna has a place in Isle Madame. I'm not sure what it is now. She was giving $100 rooms to bikers. I mean, just amazing. Plus breakfast, plus a little bit of riding on that side of the island. And so I think that's where my site was really good. The only change I've seen is there's less traffic on websites now and more traffic on Facebook and Instagram. So a lot of times I get questions from people. I'm like, they never read my site. So if someone's thinking about coming to the Cabot Trail, I mean, there's so many things answered there if you're looking for the answers. If you want to know about Meat Cove, you can watch a video of what the gravel looks like on Meat Cove. You can really discover kind of everything you want to discover about it. And I always love it when people ask me questions and I can tell they've been on the site already. And it's not knowledge from me. It's knowledge from people like Rob or people that have done the trail and said, you know what, Daniel, what I find is this. And like even what Robert was saying about the sun, the setting sun and driving into the sun. I never really thought about it that way because on the Cabot Trail going both ways, you're usually kind of in midday sun both times, but it is true. Coming into Shetty Camp in the evening, coming counterclockwise is pretty magical for sure. So I just take in the input from everybody and I try to inform people the best I can, and you guys are Canadian, but there's a lot of Americans wondering how much daylight we have. People think we're up pretty far north. So I answer quite a few questions just in that site. And that's about it. It looks a little bit more professional now, and I'm not sure if that's helped or hurt. I want people to still know I'm just one guy, and you're very welcome to call me. That's why my phone number's all over the page and my email. I really want people to shoot out a quick question about where to go. If I was riding Northern Ontario, I know you guys would want me to contact you first. And you might save me going on a road that's bad and put me on a road that's good,
Make sure, Dave, that you put that link to the channel in the description.
Oh yeah, for the website and Facebook. Yeah,
and probably even the put a link to the video, the Harley Davidson video, because both of those are awesome. And anybody interested in the Cabot Trail, looking at the website and looking at the documentary, that would be awesome. I have one other quick question, if I could. Is do you spend any time in the Acadian part? Is there good restaurants or places to stay in that part?
Oh, for sure. That's one of the favorites there, Shetty Camp. And there's a little bit of Acadian and Bedeck as well. So Bedeck is on one side, that's the inland side.
Yeah.
And then, and it's got a nice little walk there. You can have ice cream there on a boardwalk, sailboats, lovely, beautiful little spot. And you know, if you're ever driving by, just going into Bedeck and driving through it and coming back on the highway is an amazing, add 20 minutes or 15 minutes and your trip is way better. Like there's so many little things like that. Camp has a lot of artisans, they really play up the Acadian theme there. Paula, the girl that was pulling away from that rock, is one of those artists that lives on the trail. She has an art shop there, a studio. There's the rug hooking museum, which is kind of cool. There's a whole bunch of artisan shops and bakeries and lots of cool gems of stuff, and a pretty vibrant community in Camp. The most gorgeous lawns. Everyone's grass is perfect. It's weird and beautiful properties, just beautiful little houses. It's really nice. Camp is stellar, really.
What I find in the Maritimes too that I really like, when we were out there, you find French speaking people, and they are so eager to switch gears to English if you don't speak French. You know?
Yeah.
No, seriously, nicest folks ever when we're out there. Like, you know, that you can tell that like they've got their accent, but as soon as they realize you're speaking English, well, okay, we speak English.
Yeah. No, everyone's bilingual. They say that you can tell someone in the Acadians, je take pour un drive de mon car, j'ai craché dans la ditch.
Yeah.
Switch back and forth. Yeah.
So I just want Rob just to jump in here. Rob, you have
been a spectator of the website kind of thing, and
yeah. What have you noticed?
What I've noticed, and I get this more from talking to people on the trail, because if I ride with a group rally in August that basically go ride. The other PTSD ride is called Dispatches, and he's going to be doing 30,000 kilometers this summer, starting in June, and going all over Canada. So I help him with his Maritimes component, and that's the big ones that I'm helping organize. If I see others, I'll attend every chance I get.
Okay, good. And you're still planning on heading out this year for 2021?
Don't know. Haven't made up my mind yet.
You got to check the honey-do list from your wife before you head out, I guess, eh?
A little bit of that. Probably going to go to school in the fall just to spend some of that education funding I get, and but haven't made as many plans yet as I probably normally would.
Okay, great, thanks, Daniel. How's your charity ride?
Good. Like it's grown a lot on the Canadian side. I used to go alone for the first 2 years. I went alone, and then I take my daughter on the back, and most recently my wife went with me. It was awesome. It's so fun. It's the highlight of my year, really, more than biking. It's I've got true good friends that all are from the States and have enjoyed the Cabot Trail. It's open to everybody, but we never invite everybody because it's quite personal. We have I think the last one we were on, there were 71 people there. So we don't open it to groups. We tell people not to invite like the Calvary or whatever, but it's open to everyone, and they can just let me know if they're interested in joining us. I made a promise 10 years ago that I would travel to the US and hand deliver a $500 check until I died. And last year, unfortunately, I had to have a friend do that for me. Paul Landry took the envelope down for me. I stopped riding about 2 weeks before the September 11th came. And this year, I'm really hoping to go and be there with everybody, but I'll see. I don't know where my medical situation will be at that point in time, but definitely miss all my friends down there. And it is a fantastic ride. We start out wherever you live in Nova Scotia. We drive down to the States. We party for arrival night. We drive all day Saturday and so we'll break into two groups, so they're smaller, drive all through lower southern Maine, and then we party that night, and then we drive home. And everyone gives me $50 usually. There's some people that have given me as much as $1,200. We, people know what we're doing. We're making a little stir. People love the way Canada's coming down to help out with their vets. So we've had restaurants donate food to us. So some of the people that are on this fundraiser getaway weekend, they're not buying supper, breakfast, so they're donating $50 and probably having more money in their pocket than if they went with their buddies. So it's been real nice.
Okay. Kev?
Yeah, the CMC that I ride with, we do a few charity rides, and right now with the conditions, like we don't know what's going to be allowed, right, for gatherings, so we don't really have anything out. We are involved in a number of them. Children's Wish is what we usually support, but yeah, there'll be a few. I don't know how they're going to look with this years of COVID. So
the gathering limits and stuff like that.
Yeah, so we'll wait and see. But yeah, we always do stuff, and I always enjoy those.
Okay, great stuff. I've just posted, because I'm just looking at the time here. We've got a good conversation going in the side chat here. So I've just posted our link. If anybody wants to come on and ask a question of our two guests, please just log on using the StreamYard link that I have there, and we'll get you live. Wayne, anything happening with you around your group and charities?
Well, I always go to the Bob Probert ride in Windsor, Ontario every year. And it's dedicated to the cardiac care unit because he passed away from a heart attack out on Lake Sinclair. So his wife and his kids, they put on a big show, and the local Harley dealer always help sponsor and hold the event at their parking lot. So it's the same as everybody else's story. We're waiting to see what the answer is going to be, and it's a good charity, and it's a fun ride, and lots of bikes, and lots of old pro hockey players. A lot of the scrapper guys that Bob used to have to fight, they're all actually friends of the family now, and you can see them all there. It's an interesting gathering, I guess you could say. So we're still waiting for that. As far as I said before about the rides, we've got 3 in the can ready to pull the trigger on any one of them. It just depends on which one's going to let us get in and get going. So, yeah.
Good stuff. And then for me, I've got the Smiles of Innocence and also the Cruising for a Cure. Both of those rides are for the hospitals for sick kids. One's in June and one's in August, right before we vacation. Okay, so we've had some really good information here and today. But now let's have some fun here. So I've got a couple of questions just to kind of round out our time together here, and we're just going to go around the clock here. Actually, we're going to go clockwise. So Daniel, you'll be the first up, right?
Okay.
So here we go. Let's find out a little bit. Do you change the oil in your bike in the fall or the spring before you start to ride?
I usually do my own in the spring, so I don't have to worry about getting to a dealer. And then I put on a lot of miles, usually about 15,000 kilometers a year. So I have services in between. So I usually start off the spring wishing I had done a service. So I start the spring with an oil change.
Okay. Rob?
Yeah, I'm the same kind of thing. Usually try to get one early in the season. Then, as we get, depending on how many kilometers I get on, because I try for 12 or so a year. Hopefully this year I'll do more. So I'm usually take it in early in the spring.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you meant 12 oil changes. I'm like, Jesus, your bike's
No, 12,000
All right, Kev.
I always change my oil in the fall so that it has clean oil to sit in all winter, so I don't have any of that acid in there working away at the parts. So I'm ready to go in the spring. That's
Right.
why I do it that way.
Wayne?
I agree with Kev. That's usually the way I do it. But last fall, I took a little tumble and I wasn't able to do
That's
it
right.
till
I
later.
remember.
I feel your pain, Daniel. I broke my
Yeah.
foot in November and
Oh my!
I wasn't back on my wheels until January 4th. I think I went back to work
Okay.
in
Oh
the middle of
my!
November. So
And then
Goodness.
yeah, it tied me up pretty good. And so I wasn't able to do the maintenance stuff until just recently. I've changed everything and did all my updates and brake jobs and all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
okay. And then I'll say I do my oil changes in the fall, ready to go for the spring, but it depends on the mood, I guess, at the time. My bike's being in service right now, so it's getting an oil change.
So do you do a mid one as well, Dave? Like, are you putting on enough miles to justify that or not?
You know what? In past years, I'll do one mid-season,
Yeah.
riding season. But last year I didn't put a lot of, because of COVID and family and things like that. We've got a new grandson, so I really limited the amount we rode last year. Okay, all right. Seeing that we're out and about, Kev, you went for a ride recently, and there was still ice in your driveway. So
Yes.
here's the question: long johns or heated gear? Daniel, it's not a personal question. It's a motorcycle.
Who are you asking?
Well, start with me. I do wear long johns for sure, and chaps in the spring and fall, and heated gear for sure, because you just need one sweater and that's it. You don't need layers and layers and layers. I'm a huge fan of the heated vest. Awesome. Love it.
Okay,
Yeah.
Rob.
I'm long johns because I don't own heated gear. I'm too cheap.
Kev.
I wear the chaps, and the only heated gear I have are gloves I got at Christmas, and I love them. They're great.
Very good.
That's it. Yeah, I just layers.
Wayne.
I've got the whole set of hot wired heated gear,
Electric
insoles,
man.
pants, jacket, full jacket, gloves. Added 2 months to my riding year for sure. Especially with the Princess on the back. I bought her a set as well. So now it's, from here right on through till November will be riding season for the both of us, where in the past she'd always bow out when it started to get a little bit too cool for her. So now she's able to go out and stay with it, which is my favorite. I always way better time when she's on riding with me. So I am really, really pleased with the heated gear. And in saying that, as soon as the weather's a little bit better, it's just long johns and a hoodie or something underneath the jacket is good enough. But for the real cold stuff, getting down towards the freezing mark, yeah, it's heated gear for me.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm usually long johns, insulated jeans, chaps, that type of stuff, layering, except for when I went to Newfoundland. It was in June. They had just finished snow on getting off the ground there. And I had bought just a quick little heated vest, to plug into my tender battery tender connection. And, that was the first time I've had heated gear, right? Kind of like Rob, right? I can't see myself spending all the money for the gear. Okay, now then, here's a very important question, right? And this delves right into Kev, so I'm going to start off with you.
Okay. Ice cream ride.
Is it too early for an ice cream ride, Kev?
No, it's never too early for ice cream. And anybody who follows my channel knows that I do ice cream rides, and that's what I'm doing today.
Wayne?
No, I wouldn't say it's out of the question. As long as the sun's shining on me, I don't mind ice cream. Doesn't matter about the temperature. As long as it's sunny out, it's a
Yeah.
good time.
Daniel, you're gonna have ice cream served to you, aren't you?
Yeah, I try to limit my caloric intake to beer. More of a beer guy.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Rob?
I enjoy a good ice cream ride, but basically out here, a lot of stuff doesn't open till after May long weekend. So those little ice cream shops, they're all closed for outside of tourist season. And even last year in Nova Scotia, due to the cruise ship industry being completely closed, a lot of them didn't open. And we're going to probably run into that again this year.
Well, okay. And while I can't go for an ice cream ride yet because I don't have a bike, it's still being repaired. Although Lori has volunteered her bike, but you know, I'm the same as Rob. We're around where we live. They're all still closed up. So, you know, unless you go to McDonald's, you can always get a little cone there. Okay, well, guys, listen. We didn't have anybody from the side chat want to jump in and ask a question. So I'm just going to go around the board, and any last words that you want to add into today's chat. And we'll start off with our guests. And Daniel?
Yeah. Well, just there's going to be links there to my site and stuff. Just understand that I don't, I'm right here. Ask me any question and I'll help you out. Just little tiny tricks, a little bit of knowledge goes a long way. And it depends on what kind of rider you are, on what to plan your trip around. And my biggest advice is, if you're doing the Cabot Trail, a minimum of 2 days on the trail that you just say, I'm here, I got 2 days. And then just, if you can plan a minimum 2 days on the trail, it'd be fantastic. And call me anytime. And I hope to meet you. I'm excited to see a biker. I haven't seen one. Like, I think they're extinct. Do they exist anymore? I'm so excited to meet all of you guys coming to the Cabot Trail.
For sure. Thanks, Daniel. Rob?
Oh, you're welcome.
Well, I'll have to come up to Steinhardt Distillery there again soon, and because hopefully they have the schnitzel truck open soon. But no, for closing remarks, Nova Scotia is a great motorcycle playground. Daniel alluded to other places off the Cabot Trail. History, touristy, brewery, anything you want to see here, it's all within a ride. So when you guys come out late August, if you wanted to go to Lake Lunenburg, the Blue Nose might be in town because that's where its home port is. So there's that kind of history there. You want to check out those things, postcard style stuff in Mahone Bay, all along the coast here. There's so many different things to see and do, and you could just keep going for a while. And that's why I'm pretty happy about retiring here, is I have a fair number of options. It's smaller than BC, but it's really enjoyable, and I can't say anything negative about riding in Nova Scotia. So, so Kevin, when you move, drop a line and we'll set you up. And hopefully with people like Coastal Gypsies, Twisted Wrist, Snowbird Bikers, Shoreline Rider, I'm hoping we can build a YouTube community, and maybe we'll get some good video footage when you guys come out to visit, and that way we can do some collaborations, because I'm looking forward to having a good summer and trying to get better with videos. Actually, I got to get better with editing, because I have probably 5 videos worth of footage I got to edit, and I'm just keep putting it off half the time because I get stumbled on something and spend too much time on one scene that I could just never get right, get frustrated.
Yeah.
But it's look forward to meeting people if you come out here, and the riding is fun.
Awesome.
Good stuff. Thanks, Rob. Wayne, let's jump to you.
What's going to be going on? I've started testing a new camera setup, different cameras. I like what I see so far, but I haven't posted anything of it. Just still testing it. I'm probably going to be out this afternoon and get my final opinion on whether it's good or bad, and probably do a video on it. And then if it works out good, I'll probably maybe give Kev a deal on a camera.
Okay, and with that, Kev?
You know what? I want to just say thank you to you guys for all coming on and talking about the Cabot Trail, because this is, it is one of the gems, and on the epic rides in North America, it's in the top 5. So, we're talking about some serious riding here on the Cabot Trail. One of the things I think we're going to do with our live feed, we've been talking, we're getting into riding season. Both Wayne and I are going out for a ride today.
Bastards.
Yeah, I know.
Is that out loud? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you said it. I think we're gonna not have our Sunday morning live feed. If I'd like to know if you could put in the comments below when this comes up about if you think we should continue doing some sort of a live feed. We're probably, if we do continue with a live feed during riding season, we're only going to do maybe once a month or something, or in an evening or something.
Probably a weeknight. Yeah,
a weeknight. If you're interested in a live feed, please put that down in the comments when this comes up on YouTube, or that would be great. And then you could we'll know what better to do. It's not that we love doing this. I mean, we really do. And it's been, we've had some great people on, and it's been a lot of fun, but we're all riders. And it's sort of doing it Sunday morning. That's when we're usually getting ready to ride. So we'll probably reevaluate that. But anyway, that's all I got. And again, thank you guys. I was so excited when Dave said that he got you guys both to come on for this. I was really looking forward to doing this one. So, all right, that's all I got.
Great stuff. Thanks, Kev. I just see Boots and Jeans. Kate and Rich from California just logged on, right?
Geez, right at the end.
Right? They just squeaked in to say good morning to us. You know what? It's been a short period of time that the Canadian guys have been together. I guess probably about two months, right? We've been together. We've had some really good conversations. Be honest, I'm kind of going to miss it a little bit, but look forward to
Season 2 next winter
and getting it in. And
we'll definitely do it next winter for sure. Again, I think we might there will be some Canadian guys through the riding season, but it's not going to be as often, I think.
Yeah. But in today, if we had to end on a positive note, how could we not have topped it off with the Cabot Trail, a journey of a lifetime? Really want to thank Rob from Dead Nought joining us this morning. Daniel, wish you all of the best and a speedy recovery. We want to see you back out on the bike and enjoying yourself and, making content. Daniel from the Cabot Trail Biker, right? As we said before, once this gets posted up onto YouTube, we're going to put all of Daniel's information there for you. Also Rob's information too, so you can follow them at your leisure. And I'll just take a quote from Daniel's webpage. Call him with any questions. Just don't call him at 3:00 in the morning drunk.
Again.
I'm going to invite you guys, if you want to stick around in the green room after we end the broadcast. But to everybody watching, thank you very much for taking the time on your Sunday morning for joining us and our discussion. All right. So everybody, cheers, and we'll see you all soon. Ride safe and take care.